doctors protest against law on criminal negligence. I mean, there is a huge uproar across doctors, particularly in the south of India, from both Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and even Kerala. The new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, that is BNS Act, came into effect on 1st of July and which has left doctors extremely unhappy. In focus is how medical negligence is now defined, or rather redefined under the new law. According to section 106 of the new act, whoever causes death of any person by doing any rash or negligent act not amounting to culpable homicide shall be punished with imprisonment of description for a term which may extend to 5 years and shall also be liable to fine. And if such act is done by a registered medical practitioner while performing medical procedure, he shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 2 years and also be liable to fine. I know that this sounds like a lot of legalese, but it won't. It will unravel itself. Just wait a bit. Now, the Indian Medical Association has reiterated their concerns to the Prime Minister as well as to Home Minister Amit Shah, urging both to address issues faced by doctors, as there was indeed a discussion on this very matter before this new law was brought in. Their contention being that in medical treatment, there is no negligence that can be classified as criminal. Now, in their letter to the Prime Minister dated 29 June, 2 days before the law came into existence, IMA had asked the Prime Minister to point out that there is no criminal intent on the part of the doctor while treating a patient. Also, the IMA quotes what is written very clearly, that when surgery is performed and the patient passes away or dies, the surgeon is not deemed to have committed any offence. But IMA also says that if by default, in cases where there is an allegation of medical negligence and people claim it is criminal, a case should be filed and this clause should be applied. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu also saw protest against the implementation of the new Criminal Act and has demanded the central government to stop the implementation of it.
The main agenda of our meeting is today, general bodies. The central government implemented 3 criminal acts from 1/7/2024. We are condemned entire Tamil Nadu, not only Madras bar and the Chennai bar, entire Tamil Nadu. They are on strike. They are boycotting the court proceedings. Today we have convened a general body to condemn the implementation of new criminal acts. Our demand is the central government to stop the criminal acts. We are also requesting other state bars to protest against the implementation of these new acts. The general body today convened our meeting and they unanimously decided to boycott the proceedings on Monday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and we are also going to demonstrate in front of Madras High Court.
To understand this and other issues impacting doctors, and particularly while dealing with cases which requires urgent medical intervention, I am joined by Dr. R.V. Asokan, National President of the IMA, and Professor Dr. J.A. Jayalal, General Secretary, Commonwealth Medical Association and former National President, IMA, as well as Dr. Dhruv Chauhan, National Coordinator, IMA Junior Doctors Network. Dr. Ashokan, a very, very warm welcome to you on the broadcast. Dr. Ashokan, you've spoken a lot about this and you have said that this is something, I'm going to first start with what was earlier actually understood as something which will not be done. There was a letter which was addressed to the Prime Minister, but now it seems like they have not really implemented what was discussed in the first place. Dr. Ashokan, over to you, sir.
We had demanded that criminal negligence should not be, the criminal prosecution should not be a part of criminal law. When a case of a death in a treatment failure between a doctor and patient happens. And this has been earlier the statute by IPC 304A. But by tradition, it had been very, very rarely used. And for the past 20 years, we have seen that every consumer case is also accompanied by a criminal case. It has become so common that it's become very difficult for doctors and they are afraid to take critical decisions on crucial moments. So it is in the interest of the patient as well as the doctor to practice fearlessly. We are saying that there is no criminal intent when a doctor treats a patient. So long
Right.
as this criminal intent is not there, civil law only should apply.
So, Dr. Ashokan, are you saying this only applies to those doctors who are medically registered, right? Because this country has squares of quacks, you know, who botch up operations. I mean, there are several cases where you don't have a proper degree, but you have a board. So, we are only talking about those medical practitioners who are registered, sir. Am I right?
Certainly, certainly.
Okay. Dr. Chauhan, let me also bring you into this conversation. Dr. Chauhan, many medical practitioners from very famous hospitals, they have gotten into this problem. There was a very famous case in a South Delhi hospital, I shall not name it for obvious reasons, where a child was administered an injection which left him paralyzed completely. And you know, in these cases, what do you think should happen if that is not for a life almost nearly snuffed out, for a life almost stymied, for the child to be paralyzed for life? Then do you think, because I also understand that earlier it was either fine or imprisonment, now it is imprisonment plus fine. So do you think this double whammy is a bit much, Dr. Chauhan?
Actually, my first question to the government is that why all the criminal proceedings are happening towards the registered practitioners? Why they are happening with the qualified professionals? Why these laws does not apply on the quacks? Those who inject steroids in children's, those who give steroid antibiotics and increasing the antibiotic resistance in the country, those who are doing the real crime in the name of healthcare. Why such people are not brought to justice first? Why always we are attacked first? If the laws for us in the medical negligence were either the jail or this fine earlier, why have you made it stricter by imposing more punishment and making it both fine
All
and
right.
this
Very good
jail
question. I
together?
must say, I mean, that's a question that I also had. There is one Bengali doctor, and it's not, I'm not sitting on judgment on Bengalis, please. But they are, you know, I do not know why, it's like Bengali restaurant. You know, there are these Bengali doctors who sit everywhere and they are quacks, and I've seen them botching up many cases in my personal life as well. And you know, that's what I say, these jhola chap doctors. You are very right, Dr. Chauhan, that first the government needs to, you know, actually take into cognizance that they need to be asked to shut down their shops. But that's another conversation, and I'm sure we will have many occasions to speak about it. Professor Jailal, you know, the topic that we are discussing, Professor Jailal, now I am asking you something which Dr. Ashokan had also spoken about in several newspapers, is what do you do in cases where a patient requires an urgent, mandatory, compulsory medical intervention which could go this or that side? What should the doctors do? After this law, do you think doctor will have that kind of reluctance that if I go through it, then maybe I'll be behind jail and I have to maybe pay a fine, a hefty fine? So it's a double-edged sword for me. So better है कि मैं करता ही नहीं हूँ.
Absolutely.
Professor, I can't hear Professor Jailal. I don't know. All right, so let me pose that question to Dr. Ashokan. There is some problem, connection problem. Dr. Ashokan, this question, sir, comes to you. Will you please take it up? In cases of, please, sir, what is your reaction to
my, my personal take is, come what may, whatever may be the law, the doctor should have the courage to take up the crucial decision at any point of time. Having said that, this law has created a fear in the mind of the professionals.
Okay.
So that Damocles sword that Lord Dellington said is hanging. So it is for the society to remove that fear factor in the minds of the doctors. You will see a decent ambience to practice.
that, you know, it's a Damocles sword which is hanging. Let me take a break now, and when I come back, I'll once again talk to all the doctors who have joined us and what seems like a draconian new law under the new criminal laws which have been introduced on 1st of July.